Have you ever looked at a sunny spot in your yard or maybe on your balcony and just pictured it overflowing with fresh vegetables? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to walk through all the essential steps to turn that daydream into a delicious reality, starting right from the ground up.
I mean, this is the goal, right? A basket full of fresh lettuce, vibrant, healthy plants, and that amazing feeling of knowing you grew it yourself. But let's be honest, getting started can feel, well, a little overwhelming. Where do you even begin? That's exactly what we're here to figure out, together, one step at a time. Every great garden, every single one, starts with a great plan. So before you even think about buying a single seed, the first and honestly the most crucial step is figuring out where you're going to grow. Okay, so for a happy vegetable garden, you've got to find a spot that checks a few boxes. These are the non-negotiables. First up, sunlight. Most veggies are total sun worshipers. They need at least 6 hours of direct light to really produce anything. Good drainage is also a must-have, because roots can't swim. Standing water is a recipe for root rot. And trust me on this one, having easy access to water is going to save you so much hassle all summer long.
So, once you've found that perfect sunny spot, you've got your first big choice to make. Are you going to go the traditional route with an in-ground garden plot, or are you going to opt for the awesome flexibility of raised beds and containers? Let's break it down. In-ground plots, they're fantastic if you've got the space for plants that like to sprawl out, like zucchini. But container gardening, wow, it's a total game changer, especially for beginners. It's perfect for small spaces, obviously, but here's the real secret weapon. You get total control over the soil you use. That takes out a huge amount of guesswork.
All right, you've picked your spot, you've picked your style. Now we get to the heart of the matter, the soil itself. You can have the best seeds in the world and the sunniest spot on the block, but without good, healthy soil, your garden just won't thrive. It's the secret ingredient. So before you can improve your soil, you kind of need to know what you're working with, right? And this simple jar test is this awesome little DIY science experiment. You just grab some of your soil, put it in a jar of water, shake it up like crazy, and then let it settle. The layers that form tell you everything. The heavy stuff, sand, sinks first. Then the silt settles. And finally, you get the finest clay particles on top. Just like that, you've got a clear picture of your soil's texture. But here's the really cool part. Your soil is so much more than just a mix of sand, silt, and clay. It's a living, breathing ecosystem called the soil food web. Seriously, think of it like a bustling underground city full of bacteria, fungi, earthworms, all working together, breaking down organic matter and delivering nutrients right to the roots of your plants. It's incredible. So what are these nutrients they're delivering? Well, think of them like a multivitamin for your plants. The big three you'll always hear about are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or NPK. Nitrogen gives you all those beautiful green leaves. Phosphorus is the one that's all about getting strong flowers and fruits. And potassium? That's the all-around health booster, helping with everything from water regulation to fighting off diseases. Okay, your stage is set, your soil is prepped and ready to go. Now, finally, we get to the really fun part, deciding what delicious things you're actually going to grow. The most important thing to get right here is the timing. Vegetables pretty much fall into two camps. First, you have your frost-tolerant crops. Think broccoli, carrots, and spinach. These guys don't mind a little chill, so you can plant them early in the spring. Then you've got your warm weather lovers, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. They absolutely cannot handle any frost, so you have to wait until all danger has passed before you plant them. Hey, a quick pro tip for all my container gardeners out there. When you're looking at seed packets, keep an eye out for keywords like bush, dwarf, or patio. These are varieties that have been specifically bred to stay nice and compact, so they'll produce a ton for you even in smaller pots. Now, we need to talk about what is often the first major hurdle, the first moment of panic for new gardeners. You've got your seeds, they've sprouted these cute little leaves, and now you have to keep these tiny, super fragile seedlings alive. Oh man, does this sound painfully familiar? If you have ever felt this exact frustration, I promise you, you are not alone. This is probably one of the most common problems beginners run into, but the solution is usually surprisingly simple. Most of the time, that sudden seedling death comes down to one of three things. The number one killer, hands down, is overwatering. Soggy soil literally suffocates the roots. Number two is fertilizing too early. Those tiny young roots are super delicate, and fertilizer can just burn them. And finally, there's a nasty fungal disease called damping off, which just loves soil that's kept too wet. Here is the perfect way to think about it, and it makes everything so much clearer.
A seed is basically a self-contained little life support system. It's got the tiny plant embryo inside and its own perfectly packed lunch with all the food it needs to get started. All it needs from you at first is light and just the right amount of water. That's it. Okay, so your plants are up and growing strong. That's awesome! Now let's talk about a few simple techniques that will set your garden up, not just for a great harvest this season, but for years and years of success.
First up is something called crop rotation. And the idea is really simple but so powerful. Don't plant the same family of vegetables in the exact same spot year after year. By rotating your crops, you help prevent pests and diseases from building up in the soil, and you make sure you don't completely drain the soil of specific nutrients.
Next up is an idea that I just think is brilliant: companion planting. Think of it like being a matchmaker for your garden. It turns out some plants, when you grow them near each other, actually help each other out. It's amazing. They can keep pests away, attract good bugs, and even improve each other's growth and flavor. This chart gives you some of the classic examples. I mean, the most famous pairing of all time is tomatoes and basil. Basil is known to repel some of the worst tomato pests. But on the flip side, some plants are just bad neighbors. For instance, you definitely want to keep your beans away from your onions, because onions can actually stop them from growing well. It's like a fascinating puzzle to solve in your own garden. So from planning your plot and prepping your soil to picking your players and keeping them healthy, you now have all the fundamental building blocks for success. The theory is done. The only thing left to do now is to get your hands dirty. Your journey is just getting started, so the only real question left is, what are you going to plant first?